Hello and welcome back to EngLearn. Today we're going to break down one of the most important skills for AS level English, analyzing structure. A few days ago I reposted a section of an older, really popular video that focuses on structure. And then I realized I wanted to give you even more precise guidelines that you won't find in any of the textbooks currently available for this exam. In the description below, you'll find a link to this free PDF handout with all the questions we're about to cover. Ready? Let's break it down. When analyzing structure, the first thing you want to do is look at the big picture. Before you zoom in on the details, you have to understand the overall shape of the text. The first question asks you how the text is ordered. Is it chronological, meaning that it follows a certain timeline from start to finish, like most stories do? Or maybe it's cyclical, which can either be a really good thing because it makes a story really well-rounded, or it ends in the same place where it began, which can kind of create a feeling of being trapped or show that nothing has really changed. A text can also feel fragmented or jumbled, which a writer might use to create a sense of chaos or confusion. Next, we'll look at the beginning and the end. This is really important. The beginning is the writer's first impression. It's their chance to hook you in. So how do they do it? Do they use a shocking statement, a quote, or a personal story like an anecdote? The ending, on the other hand, is their last chance to leave an impression. So does the text end with a neat summary or a cliffhanger that leaves you thinking? A top tip here is to always try to see if the beginning and the end are connected in some way. This shows that you're thinking about the whole text. Finally, we need to think about whether the text builds towards a climax or a certain turning point. This is the moment where everything changes. Sometimes it's a whole paragraph, and sometimes it's just one single shocking short sentence that completely shifts the tone. Finding that moment, if there is one, is key. The main takeaway for this section is to ask, how does this overall shape affect me as the reader? Does it make me feel safe or confused or excited? Either way, this feeling is deliberate. The author structured the text to make me feel this way. Okay, now let's zoom in a little on the building blocks of the text. These are the paragraphs. Think of each paragraph as a different room in a house. Each one has a different purpose. One might be for setting the scene, another one for action, and another one for reflection, maybe. The most important thing to look at is the paragraph length. A writer doesn't make a paragraph short by accident. A short one-sentence paragraph is there for impact. It's like a spotlight suddenly shining on a very important idea. It forces you to stop and pay attention. On the other hand, a really long paragraph is usually doing one of two things. Either it's packing a huge amount of detail to build a rich and immersive picture, or it's developing a really complex and detailed argument. It's designed to make you slow down and really engage with the content. The last question here, are the ideas developed gradually or in sudden bursts, is about the flow. Is the writer holding your hand and leading you slowly, or are they throwing sudden ideas at you? This choice dramatically affects the reading experience. Now we zoom in to sentences, which create pacing and rhythm. Pacing is simply the speed of the text. Think of it like a car. Where does the writer hit the accelerator? In that case, they use short and simple sentences. This makes the pace feel fast and urgent and tense. And when they hit the brakes to let you look at the view, they use long, complex sentences, full of descriptive clauses. This is why sentence variety is so important. A good writer mixes it up to control the rhythm. When you're analyzing a text, find the part that feels the fastest and the part that feels slowest, and look at the sentences. I guarantee you'll see the difference. Also, look at the way the writer uses sentences to give you information. Do they get straight to the point at the start of the sentence? Or do they make you wait, building up clauses and details before the main idea is revealed at the end? That's a classic way to build suspense. Finally, we can look at patterns like listing or parallelism, which is basically just a fancy term for repeating the same grammatical structure. For example, we will not quit, we will not surrender, we will not fail. That repetition creates a powerful and memorable rhythm. And also don't forget punctuation. Dashes, colons, and ellipses are all signals that control how you read and process information. The next section is all about how the different parts of the text connect and talk to each other. First, learn to spot shifts. A shift is basically a change in time from past to present, a change in focus from one person or another, a change in tone from happy to sad. Spotting where and why these shifts happen is a massive part of structural analysis. Shifts often create contrast, or what we sometimes call juxtaposition. This means placing two opposite things right next to each other to create a spark. For example, a paragraph describing a beautiful, peaceful wedding, followed by a paragraph describing a violent argument. That contrast makes the piece feel more peaceful and the violence feel more shocking. It's a very powerful tool. And finally, cohesion. This is just the glue that holds the text together. Writers use words like however, therefore, in contrast, furthermore, to guide you through their argument. Repetition of a keyword or idea can also tie a whole text together. So you can ask yourself, does this text feel smooth and connected, or does it feel broken and fragmented? If it feels fragmented, there's usually a reason. Perhaps, for example, to reflect the confused mind of a character. And finally, we've arrived at the most important section. This is where you turn all your observations into top-level analysis. It's the big why. Everything we've just talked about, the overall shape, the paragraphs, the sentences, they're all just evidence. Now you need to use that evidence to answer these final questions. Why did the writer choose this specific structure? Remember, it was a conscious choice. How does it support the overall purpose? If their purpose is to shock you, they might use lots of short, punchy paragraphs and sentences. If their purpose is to make you think, they might use a slow and complex structure. How does this structure position you as the audience? Does it make you feel anxious, calm, angry, sympathetic? How does it do that? And finally, what is the relationship between the structure and the tone? A chaotic, fragmented structure creates a panic tone. A steady, logical structure creates a calm and authoritative tone. Answering these why questions is what separates a good student from a great one. It is the key to everything. So there you have it, a full guide for analyzing structure. Now, a really important point before we wrap up. When you look at this handout, please don't think you're expected to answer all of these questions in every single text in an exam. That is not the goal, and you simply will not have the time. Think of this handout as your training guide. You use all the questions here when you're practicing at home to build your analytical muscles. This list will train your brain to spot all the different structural possibilities so that it becomes second nature. However, in the exam, under time pressure, your job is to be selective. Your practice will have you trained to quickly identify the 2 or 3 most significant or most obvious structural features of the text in front of you. You should focus your analysis on those key points rather than trying to cover everything. And remember, structure is only one part of your overall analysis. Your final essay needs to be a balanced look at form, structure, and language. This handout is your masterclass to the structure part, but your goal is to show the examiner how all 3 work together to create meaning. The PDF handout is in the description below. Download it, use it for deep practice, and you'll start to see texts not just as collections of words, but as carefully built structures. If you found this helpful, please hit the like button, subscribe to EngleLearn for more content, and let me know in the comments if you'd like me to make handouts like these for form and language as well. Thank you for watching, and happy exam season, everyone!